Good evening, Jessica Harmson with ABC News. 3 health staff have been suspended amid an independent review into the treatment of an aged care patient at a key state government facility. A leaked report shows a staff member warned of human rights violations at the Oakden facility in 2014. State political reporter Angelique Donnellan has this exclusive story.
Last month, the Spriggs family blew the whistle on the alleged mistreatment of husband and father Bob. During his stay at Oakden last year, he was found with unexplained bruises on his body and was severely over-medicated.
It is our view that there may be more cases, and this may be only tip of the iceberg.
It's understood 1 doctor and 2 nurses have been suspended while the claims are investigated. But the ABC can now reveal alarm bells have been ringing about Oakden for years. The facility provides care for older people with a psychiatric illness, such as dementia. In 2014, a worried staff member warned that Oakden was medically unsafe due to inadequate medical staffing numbers, including a lack of a clinical pharmacist. The staff member says there was a risk of human rights violations, with inappropriate use of seclusion and restraint in vulnerable persons. They said a high number of patients with complex medications were being managed by 1 junior staff member, which substantially increased the risk of medication errors. It's unclear what action management took after the complaint.
I'm very concerned that this is a situation where the government has, on the one hand, under-resourced the facility so that it can't meet the care needs, and then when concerns are raised, they're failing to address them.
Do you think you need to ask questions of the department?
Look, the Office of the Chief Psychiatrist is undertaking an independent review, and I'll wait for his recommendations and I'll act on them.
I'm very concerned that this is going to be a witch hunt against clinicians to protect the administration against issues that they knew about or should have known about over the last few years.
Even prior to 2014, there were warning signs. The federal government temporarily stopped funding for new residents in 2008 after Oakden failed 26 of 44 health standards amid concerns about the use of restraint. Angelique Donnellan, ABC News, Adelaide.
Good evening, Jessica Harmson with ABC News South Australia. There are extraordinary allegations tonight of state-sanctioned elder abuse at a government-run nursing home for people with severe dementia. 2 former consultants brought in to fix problems almost a decade ago have blown the whistle, labelling the Oakden facility the worst they've ever seen. The ABC can now reveal the facility has again fallen below Commonwealth standards. Angelique Donnellan has this exclusive report.
For 9 years, Carla and Neil Barron have remained silent about what they saw at Oakden. But recent revelations about the alleged mistreatment of resident Bob Spriggs have prompted them to speak out.
There is so much emphasis now on elder abuse. But if you look at this unit, this is state-sanctioned elder abuse, and everybody's just accepting it.
The Barrons were appointed as independent consultants in 2008 to bring the federally funded but state-run nursing home up to standard after it badly failed a Commonwealth audit. They say the facility's problems ran deep.
Here, the residents were an inconvenience to the staff, and that's the way it was managed, and that went up the line.
I think, quite honestly, this is probably the worst facility overall that we came across, not only in South Australia, but in the other states that we had dealings with.
An observation reflecting the couple's 18 years of experience in dealing with nursing homes that don't meet standards. They also know from that experience how tough working in a place like Oakden can be. Dementia patients can behave violently. But it was the way that behaviour was managed that disturbed the Barrons.
I think the image that haunts me is the restraint management. A gentleman who was over 6 feet tall, who was placed on a child-sized chair, tied to it. It had wheels, and he wheeled himself up and down the hall with his legs all bent a bit. You know, it was shocking.
To change that, the Barons recommended strategies like music to calm residents. They say their advice was mostly ignored.
I think it was the one place in all our dealings that when you walked outside into the parking lot, you wanted to cry. No, it's fine.
The physical setup of Oakden played a role too.
Well, as you can see, this is the TV room we were talking about. It's a place where they're parking residents, and this is unacceptable.
The Barons found it was cramped and doubled as a dining room. Some residents spent the whole day here.
As good as continence pads are, again, you're feeding someone and you can smell the person next to you has defecated and they haven't been changed.
The Barons haven't set foot in Oakden since they quit in frustration in 2008. They say this was largely due to clashes with state and federal health bureaucrats. They hope Oakden's improved, but with Bob Spriggs' family claiming his bruises were caused by inappropriate restraint, the Barons have their doubts.
I wasn't surprised, and I just thought, oh no, here we go again.
Reporter Angelique Donnellan is at Oakden, where staff and residents' families have learnt new sanctions have been imposed on the facility. Angelique, what are the latest developments?
Yes, Jess, there is a sense of deja vu. Carla and Neil Barron were brought in when Oakden failed a Commonwealth audit and was sanctioned in 2008. Now we have learned that the federal government has again imposed sanctions on the Mac and Macleay nursing home. This is a very serious turn of events. The Commonwealth had accredited the facility last year and that was due to expire in 2019. Earlier I spoke to the CEO of the Northern Adelaide Local Health Network, Jackie Hansen, about the new sanctions. Why has the facility been sanctioned?
The Commonwealth has applied 3 sanctions to the Mac and Macleay nursing home at the Oakden campus in relation to some of the aged care standards not being met in a recent assessment.
Are they the same problems you were sanctioned for in 2008 or new problems?
They're very similar in nature, specifically 3 sanctions. One sanction relates to the loss of the government subsidy for new residents. That's for a period of 3 months. Second sanction relates to the requirement to appoint a nurse advisor to the campus for a period of 6 months. The third that was imposed relates to medication management. There has been reports of medication errors. There are also some reports where medication errors may have occurred that the staff were not reporting.
Former consultants Neil and Carla Barron have been scathing in their assessment. Do you accept that?
I was not aware of their concerns until the media this morning. Clearly I'm very concerned about what they have said. I have zero tolerance to elder abuse. We have put a range of processes and procedures in place at Mac Macleay to ensure that the residents are receiving the highest level of care every time, every day, and I have 100% commitment to that.
Can Oakden be fixed or do you need to build a new facility?
The service absolutely can be fixed, and I'd like to say to the families who might be watching, the residents are safe at Mac and Macleay, and we will not be needing to move them immediately if that's a concern. The physical building is old, but yes, it can be fixed.
Good evening, Alina Ecott with ABC News. The Mental Health Minister is fending off fresh allegations tonight that she was aware of staffing and resource issues at the state-run Oakden nursing home as far back as 2015. The ABC has obtained a letter written by the Mental Health Minister Lisa Vlahos in early 2015, responding to a complaint from a resident's family. The opposition says it's proof she's failed in her duties and is calling for her to resign. Nicola Gage has this exclusive report.
Lorraine Baff's husband Jim is in the Clements ward of Oakden Nursing Home. 2 years ago, the respected former president of his local Rotary Club was assaulted by a staff member of the home that was supposed to be caring for him.
He was in a chair in a restraint just around his waist, and the staff member just come up and stomped on his legs.
The staff member responsible was stood down and charged by police, an outcome Lorraine Baff says she achieved with the help of other Oakden staff members. The case is highlighted by the state's chief psychiatrist's report, which documents not only other allegations of abuse, but poor conditions for both residents and staff.
The hours that they work, the conditions they work under are conditions, pre-union conditions, back in something that you would see in Bedlam.
The government vehemently denies any prior knowledge of alleged abuses at Oakden, but they did know about Miss Baff's concerns over staffing and poor conditions. The ABC's obtained this 2015 letter written by Mental Health Minister Lisa Vlahos, in which she responds to a local MP who'd taken up Lorraine Baff's case. Ms Vlahos wasn't available for interview, but in a statement says the complaints are completely separate to the abuses and cover-ups in the chief psychiatrist's review.
Minister Vlahos clearly has to resign. She has completely failed in her duties.
This is the first time concerns have been publicly raised about Oakden's Clements ward, though it, along with other wards, have been subjected to the chief psychiatrist's scrutiny. Some believe the report raises more questions than answers, and there is now a push for allegations of what happened here to be investigated by a select committee, which is already looking into elder abuse.
We need to look further back and to make sure that from the get-go we deeply understood what went wrong and we deeply understand how to fix it from this point forward.
Something everyone is wanting to find out. Nicola Gage, ABC News, Adelaide.